Hey guys, Marcingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to do the team building guide for physical Super Saiyan Broly, or Full Power Broly, his EZA that is coming out tomorrow. At the time that this video goes up, I think the EZA is coming out in like 9 hours, something like that. I will be live streaming both this and the Gogeta EZA, as well as doing the new Red Zone stages and stuff like that. So keep an eye out on the channel. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and do that. Hit that bell button so you know when I'm going live. You can follow me on Twitter or join my Discord. I always post in there when I'm going to be live as well, so you don't miss it. And then we can go through the EZA, all the new stuff, and yeah, get this boy EZA'd. So, in the direct opposite to Gogeta being movie bosses, the weakness for Broly's EZA is movie heroes. Not really much of a big surprise there. Now, this category, especially compared to movie bosses, is pretty big. So there aren't as many picks, especially because there's a lot of LRs that are very good. I'm kind of going to talk through quite a few of them, which ones are good, because usually for these team building guides I do my top picks and honourable mentions for units that are best to use on the team. So I've picked out a few here and there, but with the category being so big, there are definitely a lot of units that you could fill some of those gaps with. So as always with these guides, I try and pick the top picks and honourable mentions, but if I miss out a unit and you think I should have talked more about a unit I did pick or something like that, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you did find the guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, jumping straight in, we obviously have the classic, the Anniversary LR Gods with their movie heroes, leader skill, and then of course units on the Kamehameha category get the extra 30%, so they are giving a 200% lead. Obviously very easy to build a full team, getting the full 200%, and then this team is going to be very, very effective. One thing I should have mentioned actually straight away, I did mention in the Broly one, there is a type weakness. It's only the type advantage, so essentially all extreme units in this event will get 80% damage reduction past stage 20, and then super int units will get the damage reduction. So I haven't really picked out any int units for this. You can still run int units that are good defensively, but they're just not going to do any damage in the later stages. So the Gods, pretty good pick for a lead, very strong team. There's also the AGL Super Saiyans from the Worldwide Download Celebration. They have movie heroes, and then Pure Saiyans is the extra 30%. So again, you can quite easily make a full 200% team for them. These guys, I'm not super high on this unit, but they can be pretty good. EZAs obviously don't hit as hard, so with their start of turn damage reduction, you can get them to tank some attacks reasonably well. You probably won't get to see their morale boost though. They've got to take 7 attacks and super 3 or more times. Maybe if you get lucky, you could get that by, like, in the later stages, if you manage to survive till turn 5, or the enemy manages to survive till turn 5, you might get to see it, but other than that, you're probably not going to see that very often. Next up, we have the Gammas. Both of them are here. They both have a movie heroes lead for 3 key and 170. And then Gamma 1, you get the extra 30% for accelerated battle or worthy rivals. But the extra 30% is for the same. So there are a few units that fit under those, but largely they're going to be on the 170, aside from units like the Gammas themselves, who will get the full 200%. These are kind of the only ones that don't get the full 200% leads from the other leaders that we've talked about, the actual Saiyan, like Goku and Vegeta leaders. But these guys are obviously very, very good. Gamma 1 is the more defensive unit, but he has type advantage in this event, so he's going to do really solid damage as well anyway. And then Gamma 2 can put out insane amounts of damage. I mean, you could quite easily get through the first 10 to 15 stages. If you get these two together as your starting rotation, you could probably just one-turn the event for quite a significant number of the stages. So these two are going to be really good together. If you're missing one of them, you could use the opposite named free-to-play one from the ones that we got recently, but obviously remember, you can't use same name units in an EZA, so you can't bring the free-to-play ones as well. But if you only have one of the summonable ones, you can bring the other one to help out with links. The free-to-play ones get an extra buff if they're with the opposite named Gamma as well, so they do work well together as a rotation. But yeah, these guys are going to be very, very good. Next up we have Gogeta. So I talked about this in the Gogeta guide, but depending on which one of the EZAs you choose to do first, you could obviously use the unit on the team to do the other one, right? So if you've done Gogeta's EZA first and fully EZA'd him, he's a 170 lead for movie heroes, obviously with the increase in his passive ability and the fact that he transforms on turn 4 now. Very, very good unit for the event. If you haven't done his EZA and you want to do the BROLY one first, you could still use him as like a stand-in leader. He has attack 170, HP and defense 150. He's obviously a lot weaker nowadays, but he still has the built-in dodge. 30% chance, his attacks are effective against all types. So if you're really desperate for one last unit on the team, he could still be pretty good. But post EZA, he's probably like a top pick to put on the team. So it just kind of depends which one you do first, and then you can use that unit in the other character's EZA. So something to bear in mind. So then next up we have Orange Piccolo. So a bit more difficult to make a team with him, but you can make a full movie heroes team. Because obviously there are a lot of, all of the Battle of Gods, Resurrection of F, and then superhero units are on superheroes. And then movie heroes, right? So they get the 200% lead from him. Double Piccolo would obviously be very good for this, because Piccolo is a very strong unit, especially if he's able to take a bunch of attacks in slot 1. He tanks really well whilst putting out ridiculous damage. I could see a double Piccolo lead being the kind of team that, for those people that like to see how far they can grind in EZAs, I feel like you could easily get past stage 100 using like a double Piccolo team, because even if you do have the, if you get blasted by a super attack, as long as you don't die, you're potentially going to get one of the Piccolos to trigger their full heal, which then gives them extra damage reduction. So yeah, the Piccolo, very, very good, and a double Piccolo team would work for sure. We also have the STR Piccolo, who's the perfect option to run with him. He has a movie hero sub-lead as well, if you really are short on leaders. But he's a good unit to bring on the team anyway, because he supports super class allies when there is an extreme enemy, which obviously there is. He gets extra attack and defense from there being only one enemy. And then he's getting extra damage reduction if you're on a full movie heroes rotation, which again, you're obviously going to be on this team. So Piccolo, especially whether you're using this guy or not, this Piccolo is a top choice for the team, but if you are running the LR Piccolo, then you definitely want to try and get these two together, and that rotation will be very, very strong. Because Piccolo, not the craziest offensively, this SCR one, but he's going to have type advantage over BROLY, so he will still be very effective. So next up we have the actual new Gohan himself. Again, he has a superheroes and then movie heroes lead, so you can build a full 200% movie heroes team with double Gohan leads. I'd probably use double Piccolo though. I feel like he's a little bit more useful as the extra, like the +1 if you're running 2 of them, right? But this Gohan, as much as he does have his key issues and everything, if you are able to get his 20 or even 24 key, he is a very, very powerful unit. So he definitely is worth using in the event if you have him. Because on his best turns, he is going to be going crazy. On his worst turns, he's not going to look that crazy. Not even, to be honest, like one of the better units on the team. But he's still able to hold things down as long as he's getting at least one super return. In an EZA event, which is obviously not as difficult, he's still building up that passive and getting extra defense from his super attack. So he will still be pretty good. He also nullifies Ki Blast super attacks, so he nullifies BROLY super, which is pretty useful. And then, of course, if you do get the 24 keys, attacks effective against all types. He also has the active skill, which can be used quite early on if you have a full superheroes rotation. So that can be used as a finisher for a lot of the early phases. So Gohan definitely worth including on the team. Then we have the free-to-play one. I thought I'd mention him as well while we're talking about all the new units. He's actually pretty solid. He's probably getting an EZA very soon, but he's actually probably, if you're lacking another option for the team, just throwing him on there, because he has good Saiyan links. Unfortunately, he has not the best links with the Ultimate Gohan, but he has some pretty decent links. He has Kamehameha, so he gets the Gods 200% lead. So he's a pretty solid free-to-play unit, and definitely a good option for the team if you are lacking some of the more powerful summonable units and LRs. Next up we have Carnival Goku. Goes without saying, really. Super good slot 1 unit. Builds up, can hit really hard if he gets hit first. Has the revive, which is quite easy to get. So again, this is another unit, like him and Piccolo together on the same team, you'll be able to get an insane amount of stages through past stage 30 with a team as powerful. Because let's be fair, Movie Heroes with the most optimal build is probably one of the best teams in the game, if not the best team in the game at the moment. So Carnival Goku on there, very, very strong. Then we have the STR Gogeta. I know he's super outdated now, but considering he is STR, he is Gogeta, you know, kind of appropriate for this event. Not going to be the best, but as a 6th slot on this team, especially considering he has that dodge chance if you put him in slot 3, he could easily just be a floating unit. And then, of course, if you did EZA the AGL Gogeta first, or you're just using him on the team anyway, they do have good links. They'll work together pretty well as a rotation. So this guy was worth an honourable mention, at least. You probably won't see his transformation, except for maybe like the final turn of the later stages. And then, of course, you can do the... his active skill, unfortunately, can only be used from the following turn, so probably never going to see that, unfortunately. But he could be worthwhile to use on the team. Definitely not a top pick, but worth an honourable mention, I think. And next up, we have the physical LR Gogeta. So with their EZA, they are pretty good, right? They have the built-in dodge chance. They raise defense on super. They get extra key from the rainbow orbs, which is pretty useful. And then, of course, you're never really going to get to 6 turns to get their heal. So I feel like they are another unit that's just a very solid option to use as like a slot 6, right? If you've picked out your team but you just need one more unit, these guys can fit in very nicely. They have a very good link set that will fit in very well with the team. So just another decent choice. A lot of harder events they're worth using because of this heal, which you're not going to get to take advantage of in this, but they will still be pretty useful on the team. So next up, we have God Goku. Now, how could we ever talk about a Pure Saiyan or movie boss, in this case both, EZA, without talking about God Goku? Obviously, he's going to have his 77% damage reduction, so basically he won't be able to take damage, even all the way up to like stage 100. This man's going to be eating super attacks for breakfast. So if you have God Goku, like once you've picked your leader, he is like the next unit you put on the team, basically. Like there is no reason you wouldn't bring this guy if you have him, right? He can't take damage. He can still hit reasonably hard if you're getting those 2 rainbow orbs. So absolutely a top pick for the team. Not so much is the Vegeta, but at least he has type advantage. So he could work reasonably well in this event. He obviously links up well with Goku. Fits in very well on that team. Unfortunately, his movie bosses or Pure Saiyans buff was just like a chance to stun, which is useless in an EZA. So a little bit unfortunate. But, you know, if he's on his best, especially if he is getting the guard to proc, he isn't going to take huge amounts of damage, especially, again, because he is type advantage. He'll go alongside the God Goku or the LR gods. Like, he'll work reasonably well on the team, but it's just unfortunate. Like, Goku is the MVP for Pure Saiyans or movie bosses, and then Vegeta, unfortunately, didn't really get much of an extra buff. He should have got, like, guaranteed guard against these guys, and maybe even, like, some sort of defensive or offensive buff maybe, but unfortunately he's not great, but could still be good for this event. We also have, for the JP audience out there, of course, you guys have this Kid Goku from Path to Power, who is incredibly useful on pretty much any team that you can run him on. Not only is he good for dealing damage, but obviously he creates rainbow orbs, and then as long as you pick up 7 orbs, he's providing the entire rotation with 8% damage reduction, as well as some crit chance, which is very, very powerful. That's another thing that I can see easily taking this team into the hundreds of stages if you want to farm Hercule statues. Or I know I have quite a few competitive people on my friends list who just like to see how high they can go. So this is another unit on that team that's just going to make this incredibly dominant, because having the extra damage reduction is super, super good. So this guy, if you have him on JP, definitely a top pick for the team. And of course, Hachan was his side banner unit. He's really good as well, really good defensively. The two of them together is obviously a crazy rotation. So for JP, definitely very solid picks. Then we have Pycon, much like Janemba we talked about in the Gogeta guide. Pycon's just a really good unit to bring on the team as a floating support unit. His restriction for getting his support passive is obviously nowhere near as difficult. You only need to get the 3 type orbs, and then he only needs 1 rainbow orb to get the built-in 50% chance to dodge. So he's going to be very, very effective. he's a unit that you can quite easily just slot onto the team as a third slot floating unit, and he's going to be very good, providing a lot of extra to the team. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight this trio. We've got the Goten, the Trunks, and the Android 18 with their EZA. So they're all from the BROLY movie. These guys are still pretty solid thanks to their EZA, so they would be a very good addition on the team. They're obviously only as good if you have either them together or you have Krillin or 18 somewhere else on the team. They don't have to be on the same rotation. So 18's a good option for like a floating support unit, but she only provides support if the team has a Trunks, Goten, or Krillin. So for these three in particular, running one of them on their own is nowhere near as effective. But if you have two or three of them, then they're going to work very, very well on this team. So those are the ones I picked out. But I mean, as we can see by scrolling down, there's a huge category, a lot of options, a lot of units that would still be quite viable. Like STR Tapion and Minosha paired up with AGL Tapion would obviously be very, very powerful in this event. Saiyaman 1 and 2, really good support unit. They also have a Super Types leader skill if you're struggling for leads, especially as a free-to-play player. They're a good option. Jacko, good, doesn't provide support but has the dodge, so it can be a pretty useful defensive unit. There are a lot of movie heroes units that are useful. It's actually kind of funny when you look down. Like there's one LR, and then there's one short row of TURs. So you can see Int is the most underrepresented for movie heroes, which is fortunate for this event because it's the one typing that you don't really want to use. So I guess the only one we could probably get away with is Pan, right? Because as long as she actually does dodge the attacks, then she'll be providing a lot of support. But other than that, there is quite a lot to choose from. So basically, if you have a lot of, or even just some of, the top picks units that I've mentioned, it's very easy to then fill in the rest of the gaps on the team with movie heroes units, because it is a pretty sizable category. So that was the top picks and honorable mentions. Let me know, like I said at the beginning, if there's any units you think I should have talked about, or I should have talked more about some of the ones I did mention. Let me know down below in the comment section, and let me know what your team is going to look like for the BROLY EZA down below in the comment section. Hopefully I'll see you guys at the live stream where we will go through both of them live. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.